Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about purgatory very briefly. Purgatory is a dimension among the bunch of dimensions under heaven. With purgatory, if a person commits a sin on earth or in heaven, it is brought to God's attention. Then the offender, in the case of a person who has died, is brought to God and Mary's house, or in heaven they're brought to God and Mary's house by archangels, including the person's guardian angel in the case of a person who is on earth. The offender is then read out the offence, and then if God is angry with them, which he would be if it's offensive, God tells him to get out of his house. From there, the offender is escorted to the aerodrome, which is 4 kilometers away, and they board a spaceship which is called Purgatory, which takes them up into orbit, and then through a wormhole from there to orbit above planet Purgatory, and then the spaceship descends and lands on the planet. Throughout the journey, the offender has had their robes removed and they're cold. They're not fed or given anything to drink at all. When they arrive in Purgatory, they're taken away from the aerodrome in Purgatory to a location where they're going to get punished. The sentence is read out and the offence is read out by an archangel, and then punishment is conducted on the individual by use of whips. There's 4 types of whips, including the cat of 9 tails. They start off with the easiest whip and then work their way up. In the case of someone who's committed something hideous, involving killing or torturing, even social isolation, then that person is put through punishment that is their sword. So if they rape or drown rape people, then they're punished. In the case of rape or sex offences, the person is castrated. In the case of a female who's committed a sexual offence, she's turned into a male and then castrated. We do not conduct female circumcision in heaven. It is forbidden. It is an evil practice that does not belong in society. In the case of rape and sexual offences, the offender is punished by using an artificial intelligence controlled body that looks hideous and rapes them, does to them what they did to others. No angels are involved in this. It is controlled by the Holy Spirit. After 80 years of punishment, God makes an appearance and heckles the offender. If the offender answers back, then God returns to heaven and the offender is left there. From there, the next time God appears to the offender is 800 years later. And it continues like this until the offender admits that they were wrong and says that they're sorry. And then they are allowed back into heaven after God has forgiven them. In the case of a wicked person, in a lot of cases, in all cases literally, they're not allowed into heaven. They simply are never sorry, and we wind up taking them to hell. So a wicked person who commits an offence on earth still goes to purgatory, even though they're not destined for heaven. I am the Archangel Daniel, and I am from heaven.